Hello everybody, welcome back. Hunter series game number 10. Guys, can you feel it? Can you feel the shady diggies coming? I know I can. Let's look at this Mulligan here. Seems like a fairly easy keep. We just keep the fairy dragon, ditch the quick shot and the ball of spiders. No real reason to keep a quick shot in the early game. As you guys know, I don't like to keep removal in the opening hand because you assume that your opponent is going to coin out a 2-drop if you keep a quick shot. Now, you do have a fairy dragon, so you could keep it, but I'd much rather hard mulligan for that 1-drop, as you guys have heard me say over and over again, but I just keep stressing it because it's so important. As player 1, that 1-drop is so crucial. It just puts you in such a nice position because it usually buys you initiative. And the guy with initiative gets to use all the buffs and, you know, all that good stuff that comes forward. So, you know, first few turns are going to be fairly straightforward here. We play the fairy dragon. We're probably playing the ogre brute, seeing as animal companion is a bit unreliable. Now, that's not to say that the ogre brute is the most reliable fellow out there, but you know, it's a 4/4. You don't really want to have a huffer against an acidic swamp ooze. It's just, you know, don't quite like it. Okay, so for me, it's, yeah, I think it's just ogre brute and go face for 3. You can trade in your fairy dragon, but the trade is something that he will probably do, and you do not get super punished by Shattered Sun Cleric. If you Shattered Sun Cleric here, then yes, he can kill your ogre brutes, and you are left with a 3/2 against the 3/2. But then you can play your own fairy dragon, quick shot his Shattered Sun Cleric, and you're still more than fine. There's no real reason to miss out on 3 phase damage because, as I've been stressing throughout the entire run, Hunter is a class where you do need to take every bit of phase damage where it's responsible, right? I think there it was responsible. Now, if you had a 2/3 against a 3/2, it's not responsible because if he has Shattered Sun Cleric, you're actually in trouble because he just free kills your guy and then it's also contests your ogre. All right, so here, guys, kind of went over the play fast. He had a 4/3. We had something that dealt 3 damage. We could also develop a 2-drop. It was perfect on curve. It dealt 4 face damage extra. Seems like a no-brainer, right? 2 mana to kill off 3 mana. Fairly good trade. All right, and here we have Druid of the Claw, which is pretty annoying. Coin Druid of the Claw is something that causes me a lot of losses in Hunter, because it's 6 health to deal with on turn 4. It has taunt, you can't ignore it. It's something that really slows you down. I feel like I don't think I've ever beaten this as Hunter unless I had Deadly Shot or Hunter's Mark. Like, coin Druid of the Claw into Druid of the Claw. It's like, oh my god, that's 12 health worth of taunt over 2 turns on turn 4 and turn 5. I mean, it's fairly unlikely that you're going to be able to chew through that and have lethal at some point, unless you have Deadly Shot or Hunter's Mark, of course. Here, I think we misplayed. We went for the companion way too fast, right? Like, let's see what we get. But, I mean, think of it. Misha doesn't do that much. Leok doesn't do that much. Huffer, okay, you get to sack your Huffer and your Fairy Dragon, get to keep an Ogre. Now, let's look at what Shattered Sun does. Shattered Sun on the Ogre. Ogre gets to hit into the Druid of the Claw, and then you sacrifice your Fairy Dragon, and you have a Worgen Infiltrator, a Shattered Sun Cleric, and a 5/1 Ogre. Or alternatively, you kind of cheat your way over the taunt with the Ogre and deal 5 face damage, which is pretty good. So I think here we messed it up. We just went a little bit too fast. So it can happen to everyone, guys. Everyone can do that. But that's why I always say, like, try to just slow down. You have your time during each of your turns. Use them. You know, a lot of people think like, but it's a lot cooler if I play fast. You know, like all the pros do that and stuff. It's like, I mean, sometimes I rope on turn 1. Sometimes it's necessary. So there's nothing wrong with that. You're not a worse player because you use your time. You're a smart player if you use your time. You know, your brain is literally just more likely to find an answer if you give it more time. That's just how it is. Okay, here we try with the Ogre. Kind of have to just double trade. The taunt isn't going to go anywhere. I had hoped that the Ogre missed and dealt 5 face damage, and that way we could have killed it back and deal extra face damage. But it's alright, guys. Stuff happens. He has a Kodo as well. This game, I felt like we were being crushed. We were just being absolutely destroyed. It's the first time that we actually have Ball of Spiders and that we can use it. So pretty excited about it. Ball of Spiders here just seemed better than Illuminator and Shadowed Sun Cleric. Seeing as a Cleric just dies to the Kodo and you know, doesn't do that much. We need stuff to happen here. We need some magic to happen with these web spinners. Now you might say like, holy Swype, that's a good swipe. It actually isn't, right? Sure, you have 4 1 HP targets, but each one of these guys is giving us a card. He's only on 6 mana, so he's probably gonna have to swipe hero power. And I mean, he's swiping phase. It's not like he even gets swipe value on a minion. But at first sight, it's like, oh my god, such good swipe, PogChamp. You know, like it's a natural instinct. But honestly, I don't think the swipe was great, and I think he could have gotten away with not swiping if he had a decent alternative. But just as we played our Animal Companion a bit too fast, he might have played his swipe a bit too fast. Yeah, I can say that the RNG is a little bit with us with this Ball of Spiders. Like at one point, the Ram Wrangler gave us an Angry Chicken. At other point, the Ram Wrangler gave us a Malorn. Now we get a Hungry Crab, and we also get a Malorn. So that's why I feel like with the Hunter, the RNG that you get from Web Spinner and the RNG that you get from Ram Wrangler is kind of acceptable because, yes, the average is not amazing, but the difference between bad and good is super big. So usually you can afford to take one bad hit if you also get a really good one. Like, I'll happily take a Hungry Crab and a Malorn over getting 2 4/4s, right? 2 4/4s here is like, Getting Malorn is like, boom shakalaka. You know, it's a really nice card to get here. 9/7, 7 health, you know. Compare that to War Golem. War Golem 7/7, this is a 9/7, so just by comparison here. So yeah, let's see what our opponent does to his own class card. Malorn kind of betraying the Druid, and he does have another Druid of the Claw, so yeah, pretty strong. This guy definitely has a top tier Druid deck. We have a very good Hunter deck, of course, but yeah, our opponent has a really strong Druid deck. Double Druid of the Claw, Swype, he had the Kodo. Early game was also not lacking. Alright, so here we have 2 lines of thought, and I'm going to shed some light on that here. We could Shattered Sun the Malorn, that way he goes up to 8 health, he hits here, and then he has 4 HP, meaning that if our opponent wants to kill it with Kodo, he'll also have to hero power and take the 10 damage, because Malorn will be at 10 and 8. Well, 10 and 4 after we clear here. Now, that means that you are assuming your opponent doesn't have another Swype, doesn't have a Starfall, doesn't have a Wrath, doesn't have an Abusive Sergeant, and a Dark Iron Dwarf, you know, like, it's very unlikely that your opponent isn't going to have at least 1 point of damage other than his hero power. So, for me, it seems better to play the Highmane instead and develop the 2 1-drops. Now, I'll tell you why I want those 1-drops out there. I want those 1-drops out there because if our opponent plays Ironbark, the Highmane plus the double 1 damage minions can kill Ironbark. For me, it's very important that we can deal with that. If we just play Highmane hero power, he has Ironbark and he can hit us in the face for 8, right? And we're getting kind of low if he hits us in the face for 8. We're on 10, he's got Ironbark, and we're going to have to use Power Shot on 1 target. It's going to be ugly, you know, so I feel like it's just better if we Savannah Highmane and double 1-drop. Yes, if he has a Mind Control tech, you're pretty sad, but I feel like you can't play around Mind Control tech if you're not very far ahead on the board. Like, I'll only play around Mind Control tech if I feel like that's the only card that beats me. Right now, there's plenty of other cards that beat me, so Mind Control tech is the least of my worries. So for me, it's fairly obvious that he takes the good trade onto the Malorn here. So we'll see what he opts to do about this Highmane. See if he ignores it, see if he wants to deal with it. Looks like it's gonna get hit by a Starfire. Alright, that's fine, that's a fairly slow play. 6 mana to deal with 6 mana, but we get Hyenas. Mark of the Wild is confusing, because that means that he's not killing off Malorn. And remember when I said that assuming that your opponent doesn't have 1 damage from the hand is kind of cocky and optimistic? This is exactly what our Druid does. It's a little bit cocky, it's a little bit optimistic. He's essentially saying like, well, What are the odds that you can kill this with anything else than your Malone? And we're like, well, I mean, we can power shot, we can shot at Sun Cleric, you know, we can even choose how we want to do it. But I mean, allowing your opponent that, like, I feel like our opponent was fairly far ahead, right? He had a good swipe, he had double Druid of the Claw, he had a good Kodo. So why does he put himself at risk here? I mean, he's literally about to get hit for 9 phase damage here with Malorn. So yeah, I mean, yeah, we got lucky with getting Malorn and Hymain, but I don't think he would have been in this position if he played it smarter. If he had just taken out the Malorn and hero powered the web spinner, we have 2, 2, 1. I mean, it's nowhere near as much damage, right? It's nowhere near. Alrighty. We get a King Mukla, so I mean, it's a legendary, but you know, it's like a legendary King Mukla. At this point, it's just kind of a annoying jungle. Sorry, an annoying Strangletorn Tiger. It's like, yeah, you're a Strangletorn Tiger without stealth that gives my opponent bananas, because the mana cost is not super relevant on turn 9. So there we go. Choo choo, 9 phase damage, and we put down the Mukla here because our opponent doesn't have any minions on the board, which means the bananas are not super relevant. So let's see what he does to deal with it. So he does have another swipe, which makes it very weird. Why did he not swipe the Malorn last turn? I don't know. It's fine. And then another swipe. So yeah, as we said, very good Druid deck, this fellow. You know, it's like very, very good Druid deck. All right, so we have nothing else to do but to play our double 3-drop and hero power. Right now, the game is looking super grim. We should be nowhere near lethal, but due to our opponent's misplay, we were able to connect for 9 phase damage, which was huge. So we'll see what he does here. If he's out of taunt, we can win, but it's fairly unlikely. Even without taunt, I mean, we have no gas left. And here our opponent does misplay number 2. He takes their shield off with his face. Like, come on, man. You're so far ahead. You're literally so far ahead. You have 5 cards in the hand. The cards on board are better than our cards, and yet you opt to take 3 damage because you are greedy here. I mean, no. It's just unacceptable. He goes to 10 HP rather than 13 HP. And yeah, I mean, we have 5 damage on the board plus hero power. We literally need to draw only 3 damage to kill him now, which we did. So I'll take it, you know, once again. Sometimes you just have to punish your opponent for making a misplay. And in this case, it just cost him the game. So guys, try to learn from that as well. If you are so far ahead, don't go for that ultimate value play where like, I'll hero power the shield. I feel like after that double swipe, there was no way he could lose. We were out of steam. I mean, even if he, you know, played around the Malorn and didn't allow the Malorn to hit his face, he would have been in a great spot. But hey, as we said, guys, misplays happen and we got to capitalize on those. So once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow for game number 11, guys. The Shady Diggies are coming closer, and yeah, guys, have a nice day.